This is episode 33 of What's Been Better. This week, we're talking about rules. Some time ago, Lori asked me what my principles were, and at the time, I said I didn't know. But I realize now that they're called house rules in my home. So today, we're going to do a deep dive into the rules, principles, and guides that help us along the way. In case you forgot, we're still out here cussing.
And that's for damn sure.
I know that's right. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Let us. Let's just jump on in. Sylvia,
Yes.
what's been better?
Homecoming was yesterday and it was
Yay.
great.
Aw,
There's no place I love more than Tuskegee, Alabama. Like no
really?
place. I literally love that place. I love how it looks. I love how it feels. I don't always love the people,
Mm-hmm.
but I do love the place. It's a beautiful campus.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yesterday it reminded me how damn big it is and how
Mm-hmm.
many hills there were and that I was not
Wow.
a spring chicken. So
Look at that. I've never been to the campus of Tuskegee. Um,
we have to go.
yeah, I would love to. Yeah, to get that feel that you're speaking of.
Yes.
Whenever I go back to my alma mater, I love it too. I love the landscape
Hmm.
of the whole place, the beautiful flowers and just how the upkeep is really nice.
Like if it can we tell people where you went to school? Are we
Yeah.
allowed
Oh
to
yeah.
tell?
Oh, what university? Oh yeah. No, no,
If
no
you've
shame in that.
never been to Huntsville and you go to Huntsville, like just drive past Oakwood University because that is a well kept and beautiful. I mean, like all the little flowers out front
Mm-hmm.
on Adventist Drive. Oh, like
Yeah,
there's a little fountain. Like they did the thing. It
they
is
did.
so beautiful.
Absolutely, it's gorgeous. And I will say the classes that I took, I enjoyed them too.
Hmm.
Some of the times that I had there was good. I can't blame the school. If I would blame anybody, it would be me. But you don't know what you don't know. So
You just took it really seriously, like you were like, I'm going to school and that's it.
yes, yes, I
Yeah.
was so down for the the Adventism at the time. I was
Hmm.
I was invested. I wasn't partying.
Yeah.
I was so focused on school. It was wild.
You did the complete
Um,
opposite of what I did.
yeah, I was zoned in, girl, like for real. Not to say the grades were the greatest. I told you, math kicked my ass in a major
Right.
way. Oh Lord. When I
And
think
it's
about it.
always the class that you're like, I mean, I should be all right with this. This is the thing I want to do. And then that class is like, uh, hell no.
Right, right. I
So,
think I would do it again though. I love math. I really, really do.
mhm.
Math beat my ass, I will say. But I'm here for it now. Like I think I have the maturity to get back in there
Yeah.
and learn some things because I could have learned it then. I was just there was a lot of resistance. Um, wow, and it was a nightmare,
Yeah.
but in a good way. You know, I would love to do it again though.
Them class, especially when you get in the upper levels. Oh my God. When you get like calculus two,
How
shit.
about calculus 4? How about
Oh,
advanced calculus? Like if there was
mm-mm.
if 3 and 4 is not advanced, what the hell is? And then you get to advanced calculus, and
Yes.
then you get to linear algebra. Like,
Mm-mm.
girl,
Mm-mm.
bye. It's differential equations. Who has ever heard of differential equations?
First of all, differential equations was just like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Like
Right.
I didn't understand like why we needed to be tortured like that. And I told y'all before, like quantitative analysis, like that shit. I was like,
Yeah.
excuse me,
Yeah. That was
you gonna
some
mix the science with the math?
right.
Oh,
That
okay.
right there. When I heard that people were taking that, I said no. My brain would literally be fried.
I,
In fact, I would not even take what is it, physics. One trying it,
I
don't do it.
I really, really liked it. Like I really thought I was gonna do physics and not chemistry.
Hmm.
But I knew I wanted like a combination of the two. I
Right,
knew it wasn't gonna be a biology teacher. That was never absolutely not. Fuck no. At the time I didn't like being outside. So anything environmental science, any animal science,
right,
plant science, no, hell no. I
right.
had no idea. Now if you told me today that I should have like focused in and been like a soil scientist, or I would love to study water. That would be cool. But
That'd
back
be
then,
interesting.
I was like, hell no. Like, I don't want to
Right.
go outside. What do I look like? but but yeah, but no, to answer your question, what's been better? It was good to just go back to my second home. It was
That's
good.
so cool. I love
So
that. I'm glad
yeah.
you got a chance to do it.
Didn't run into anybody I didn't want to run into. So that was great.
What a blessing.
Really. No, that was a whole blessing.
Yeah.
So
I think you would have been good though if you did. You would have been
well,
able to put in practice the things you know.
and hence why we're going to talk about these rules today. But before we do that, what's been better, Lori?
Um, let's see what's been better. This weekend has been better for me to relax. I needed some time to get some rest and relaxation. I got a chance to hang out with a girlfriend and some other friends yesterday. It
Okay.
was just like a kickback, nice little old school kickback. And we were sitting on a rooftop and we could see
Hey.
into downtown Atlanta and it was beautiful. Like the skyline was a whole canvas of
Okay.
sorts. And it was just nice to unwind and relax and eat a little bit and drink a little bit with some friends and just, not think really about anything else, you know.
That's what's
So
up.
so yeah,
That's what's
that
up.
was really good. Yeah,
Okay.
so to answer your question, what's been better is I'm relaxed.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Ah,
I like it. All right.
yeah.
Well, all right. Let's you asked me about these principles and we talk about the four agreements a lot. And I didn't realize that like the language barrier, I guess. To me, I thought a principle was like a Bible verse or like, something like very strict from your parents. Like I didn't realize that it could be something that you've adopted along your way, like
Hmm.
along the path of life.
Right.
So when I finally had time to really put these things back into practice, because they always kind of hover around, I was like, oh shit, these are principles. This is what Lori was asking me about. It's not that I was just out here living life, doing whatever. I just didn't realize what they were called at my house.
Right.
So now
Yeah.
I've talked about not going back in the house before because
Hmm.
the whole debacle with the drainage system and the drip system out back, to which it is completely done.
Look at
All the
that.
plants are back in place. Everything is back in place. It's completely
Oh,
done.
have you done a mini video of it?
I took video. I just haven't put it out, but I will. Like, I just
Okay.
haven't had time, but I did. Like, all the grass seed is down, all the hay is
Oh,
down, like, everything is
oh,
back in place. The
oh.
water's back on, everything is pruned, everything is
Hmm.
cleaned up, all the bricks are put back.
Oh my good. Please
Yeah,
send just do a aerial or some kind of
I
video
will.
just of the area. I would love to see it.
It looks so much better and it's so much easier to just access everything now.
Hmm.
So I was able to take down like the rest of the fencing and just, yes. So I still have some things I want to do, but I'm not going back in the house until I get them finished this time. So,
Look at you.
house rule
See,
number one, don't
but
take your
break
ass back in the house.
break that down though. Principally, I know
Mhm.
it's a metaphor for a thing, but help the viewers understand your rationale to don't go back in the house.
Don't go back in the house is a metaphor for not quitting,
Right.
and in particular, not quitting on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you quit, if if the listeners, and I'll post the video again
Mm-hmm.
um, on the What's Been Better page, in the video, you see that like I got so frustrated
Mm-hmm.
that I just left everything in place. I left the drill, I left all the tools. I just walked away from it. And when I came
What was
back,
there? What was the reason that you did that?
um, I got frustrated because something wasn't level
Okay.
and it wasn't connecting. And so I
Okay.
was just like, fuck. And I was
Okay.
by myself.
Okay. So in your
Um,
frustration of things and it wasn't working the way you wanted it to work
mhm.
and you felt alone.
Yeah. A lot of it too is like if we don't get things done together, Drew has to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only certain days that we're together at home. There's only a certain time that we have. So when I'm left to my own devices, either I got to get it done or sometimes I make more work for us.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one of those times that I did not realize it was going to be that much work
Mm-hmm.
because then it rained and then that hole filled up with water and the water was just sitting. And I
Did
was
it
like,
did it rush
oh,
your tools?
it didn't. No, luckily,
Oh,
because like some
blessings.
things I just like, I left them on top of things.
Okay.
So yeah, so some most of the things I was able to like get it, clean it off. It was fine.
Okay.
But it
Okay.
was really how much water was in that hole was scary because I was like,
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
how are we gonna get this out? So
But it
luckily,
just
like
drained on its own.
it
Okay.
drained and it dried out and we were able
Okay.
to connect it in to where it was
Mm.
supposed to and level everything out. And so the water really does rush
Right where
into
it
the
needs to
drain
go.
and where it's supposed to go. Yeah.
Look at that. It still worked itself out, but there was still a lesson in that, is basically
Yeah.
what you're saying. Okay.
It was again the lesson of like getting yourself out of character and getting yourself so frustrated or worked up that you're like, just throw your hands up. It's not an option. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta work through those things. So it was also a lesson in like take a break.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily don't do something, but do something. Take a
Mm-hmm.
break. Take a
Nice.
breather, take a deep breath, sit and
Right.
figure it out.
Right.
Wait. I could have waited,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So that's the first rule. Don't
Okay.
go back in the house. And
Okay.
these are in my order. They're not in
Mm-hmm.
Drew's order.
Okay. Okay.
So, but
But
these
what's
are rules
yeah.
that we go by.
But I would say what's interesting is if you don't honor your own agreement or your rule,
Mm-hmm.
right? You find that things are become harder, right? So
Yes.
because you went back in the house per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
You notice that things became a little dicier.
Yeah.
So it's like, let me honor this. Let me honor
Yeah.
this for myself so that I don't have to run into these snags
No.
unnecessarily.
And it really was a just in a mad rush to get things done and uh how many days and weeks we had been doing it. I was just like, I just want this to be over with. I could
Yeah,
just
you're
do it.
over it.
I could
Yeah,
just hurry up. And it was like,
I hear you.
no, you cannot.
Yeah,
So that's the first rule. The second
yeah.
rule, and I know you've heard this rule and you like this rule, but do not order a large if you've never had it before.
I love it. I love the metaphor. I love the whole thing because it's so true.
And
Love it.
all of these come about in like funny ways, but like they all have different metaphorical meanings. So, yes, if you've never had it before, you don't know that flavor, you don't know that taste, you don't know that thing. Why would you order a large and it's nasty and now you're stuck with it? You bought $20 ice cream and it's
Mm-hmm.
gross.
Mm-hmm.
Don't order a large. Get a
Right.
sampler,
Something stair
taste
step that
testler,
bitch. Like something.
something. Even cars, houses, anything that you're going to spend a large sum on, don't buy
Mm-hmm.
a large.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Court it first.
d-
Don't buy a
try.
large husband or a wife. Don't get into these
So
large ass relationships when you haven't done the due
exactly.
diligence because you're gonna be in for a heartache. So
Yes.
just pay attention.
So it's also metaphorical of like don't rush into things
Yeah, take your
without
time.
taking without taking the time to like really think about like is this a good decision? Is this does this make sense?
Hmm.
Because if not, like you are stuck with whatever choice you made.
Yeah, you are stuck with Chuck
Right. So,
or Chastity.
but
Let
also
me stop. I'm so silly. Right.
but also like listening to yourself
Yeah.
because I could have said the same thing to myself of like, don't order a large. Like, I could have not gone to Tuskegee after 30 minutes of seeing it.
Hmm.
Maybe if I would have taken a deep breath and saw it, it would have been like, okay, this whole front of this campus is under construction. Okay, these dorms are being condemned one after one. Okay, these books are extremely expensive. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a private institution, so out of state tuition. Like I could have thought about all those things,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I went head first and was like, whatever, you know.
Mhm.
But to me,
Mhm.
like, sometimes it works out.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully
Sometimes
you
you
just
find the flavor
kind
that
of
you're
work it.
obsessed
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Right.
You
So,
or you make it work because you did order that large. You're gonna make yourself like it.
yeah.
That can happen.
Yes. So, yeah. So don't order a large if you haven't had it. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's the same thing as buying something. I know like people trust other people and they will spend all their money on a thing because they got
Mhm.
recommended or
Mhm.
they saw it on TV or they saw a commercial for it and they're like, oh, that looks like exactly what I need. But
I
they
did
don't
that.
test it out.
Listen, I did that just recently.
Okay.
Somebody told me about, oh, you should get this particular content, and I jumped out there and a lot of money in, and yeah, and learned a lot of lessons.
See, we got
I
to
bought a
unpack that.
large.
But you didn't know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you hadn't heard this rule, so it was like, why would you don't know what you don't know. You have
Right.
no
I
clue.
listen, I will definitely be reading reviews and checking in with folk.
I know that's right. I
Yeah,
know that's
because why
right.
not? You know. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Also, too, it's like a thing of like seeing the warning signs or like the red flags.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're
So,
very important,
yeah.
you know. Yeah, they're bright lights that you see. Don't avoid them.
That you see and you close your eyes to, you're like, no, that's not what I saw.
Shit, you see them suckers when your eyes are closed too. Like, pay attention. Better pay attention
Right.
to red flags.
Mm-mm, no. Okay.
So
My
what's the other
favorite
one?
rule, but
Uh-huh.
it's like, this rule is the rule that's like, if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. Because
Oh shit.
again, you got to pay attention to these damn red flags. Okay. Rule number 3, we do not deal with the fuck around gang.
Oh my goodness. That sounds like a bad group.
Okay. Let me break down the fuck around gang. Anybody, and fuck around gang goes by many names at our house,
Okay.
but for the most part, anybody that's making excuses,
Mm-hmm.
anybody that's trying to figure out how not to do something before we even get started, stay the fuck around gang.
Mercy.
If you
Mm.
automatically are like, well, I don't know what, no, you're the fuck around gang. If
Okay.
everything is laid out for you and all you have to do is fill in the blank, but you find a way to not do the thing, you're the fuck around
Mm.
gang.
Mercy.
You are an excuse haver. We used to call them fruit loopers because all you do is talk yourself into a circle. You go in a
That
loop.
that's hilarious. Fruit
You just,
loopers.
yeah, you're just wasting time. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that rule is the rule that just it once you have it, your tolerance is low at that point for
Okay.
anybody that has an excuse.
Okay. Would they also be people who are not doing anything? Like,
I wouldn't always say that because it
okay.
could be people that have whole businesses
Mm-hmm.
and you come along and say, okay, they say, I need help with my business. I need help doing whatever. Can
Mm-hmm.
you help?
Mm-hmm.
You offer suggestions, advice, questions of like how they would like to go forward. And then they don't do anything in the plan.
Mm.
They just have excuses.
Mm.
Well, what the fuck
So,
is the point of you asking me any of the advice or any of the help or any of the setup?
right, right. Because you fucking around. So now I was just wondering if that also includes people who just don't kind of have ambition or aim, or they just shiftless. They just kind of.
I could give I could go
I
with that.
I think that I
Yeah.
think that's an excuse group too.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not. They're in the same place you saw them 10 years ago doing the same thing.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know.
It's I'll give you an example of like when this all started about the fuck around gang. Our wedding.
Oh.
So if you remember the whole story about our wedding, like we had paid for one place, it didn't work out. They wouldn't give us
Mhm.
back our money. It took
Mhm.
us time to get more money to go with going on the cruise.
Mhm.
Well, when you go on a cruise, it's like you're going to the airport. You have to go through a port.
Right.
So
Right.
in order to go through a port, you have to show identification.
Right.
we had people who were like, I don't want to give them my driver's license number.
Because what somebody's gonna find out that you owe some money or something,
I
or they're gonna arrest your ass for
just excuses.
what?
Excuses.
What's going on there? They're
I
hiding behind
mean,
the government, like they what are they? Like
there
fugitives or something?
there
Oh
were
my goodness.
people we could have had our wedding in their backyard and they would have never opened their sliding glass door.
And they would
They
what
just
they would have
had
been inside.
excuses. Yeah, they would just had excuses to like not come.
Oh my goodness.
And I understand it. Fine, you don't want to come, but like just tell me you don't want to come. Don't give me an excuse.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
So
But I think it's
yeah.
like having an excuse in the name of like, I guess you thought you were protecting somebody's feelings is worse to me than just being like, no, I don't want to do it.
Hmm.
It's not
Well,
confrontational. To me, it's
yeah,
not confrontational to just say what
yeah,
you want, but it
right,
is confrontational when it's like you're stringing me along with your excuses.
right. I get it. And so because they're not gonna come clean, you can't make a person do anything, right?
Right.
So you're deciding I'm gonna exit stage left.
Yeah, because you are showing and telling me that you are part of the fuck around gang and
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't deal with that.
Right, right. I'm out.
I'm not saying like everybody I have to be around has to be a go getter and a
Hmm.
ladder climber, but I am saying like if everything I say or everything you say that we want to do is still met with an excuse, what's the
Hmm.
point? What's the
Or
point in
if
this
you're not
interaction?
right, and or if you're not being honest with me, because
Yeah,
what that truly is saying, you're not being honest with yourself. So
no,
because you're not wanting to be honest with yourself, I can't get down with you.
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
understandable.
yeah. So
So, so
don't be dealing with the fuck
that's
around gang.
that's an interesting gang. I wouldn't get down with them either. I
No,
wouldn't.
because it's
Yeah.
just you're wasting time. And I
Yeah.
think like there's nothing worse than wasted time or wasted potential. I was
Okay.
talking to Chris the other day, and Chris, as we know, is losing his vision and he's going through all these things with his vision. And he was saying, like, when he started to lose his vision, it when he started to lose his sight, it gave him more vision
Interesting.
to get out and do things and to not have
Mm-hmm.
excuses and to be
Mm-hmm.
fearless.
Right.
And I just think of all the people who can see,
Mm-hmm.
but they have no vision.
Wow. That's very
It's
profound.
such a waste. And he was
Mm-hmm.
we were talking and he was saying, I can't remember who he said he was listening to, but he was saying, what if you were on your deathbed and everyone that came to see you was all the potential that you had, all
Mm-hmm.
the things that you could have done, should have done, would have done,
Mm-hmm.
were all standing over you. But
Mm-hmm.
because you had excuses, here's every one of those excuses confronting you.
Right.
That shit is terrifying to me. I don't want that. I
Well,
want to live life
yeah,
fully.
I hear you. And that can happen. The
Mm-hmm.
sad thing is, you know, it's already passed. If that's
Yeah.
your deathbed, well, hey y'all. I mean, what else you gonna say?
But I wouldn't want to
Crying and
go
bitching
out.
and moaning. I mean, what is
Yeah.
that gonna do?
But I wouldn't want to go out with all of those, with a room full of excuses. I
I
would
hear
rather
you.
go out with a room full of accomplished
Oh,
or
absolutely.
finished
Yeah,
or
most
done.
definitely.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Can you imagine if you just had like a rack of shit just standing around like
This
and
this
I
is
am guilty of that.
unmanageable. Yes,
I'm guilty of that.
unmanageable.
Like I don't have a lot of regrets, but the things I do have regrets on, I'm like, oh, like they bother me still.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because those regrets are times when I was prideful.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit is horrible. You know, that vibrates like way low. Like
Yeah.
pride is just ridiculous.
Well,
Like
what are you gonna do about that?
there's nothing I can do about it, but it's still so one of let me just explain. One of the ones that I have like a deep seated like, oh, is every time we go to homecoming and they have the alumni band and I
Mm-hmm.
can't participate
Mm-hmm.
because I was prideful in a moment of a teenage brain, post teenage brain, of I tried out for the dance team,
Mm-hmm.
made it to the first round, made it to the second round, but didn't make the team. And in between all that, I got really sick. I got like a kidney problem.
Mm-hmm.
And um, when they called me back to say, oh, somebody else dropped out and you can join, my pride was like, no, you didn't want me the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at all the shit I missed out on. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
I had excuses and
I hear
now look
you.
at you.
I get it. But you're looking at it from a hindsight position now,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I wonder if compassion is there somewhere, that you can have compassion for yourself at that age, because you're wiser now.
I am. I'm wiser now, but I get what you're saying about having the compassion though. Yeah. But I guess I'm using that as an example of like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's an excuse where there shouldn't have been an excuse.
Well, that's
There
where
was
you
nothing
were at
wrong
the
with me.
time. I get it, but that's where your mind was at the time.
Yeah.
And if somebody was able to maybe talk to you and maybe provide you with some, hey, look at it from this perspective, it might
It
have
would have
been
been
different.
different. Right.
Right. But
Yeah.
but I will say in those times, sometimes we are in our own head and nobody can convince us otherwise in
No.
that moment, because
Mm-hmm.
that's our principle. You had somebody's
Right.
principle in that moment that
Yeah.
you were living on or you were,
Yeah.
so
And two, when I think about all those things, like I think about my time in school, I don't know if I'd be sitting in this chair in this moment
mhm.
if I would have, had an alternate moment.
Yeah, you definitely would not have. Just
So
one decision changes the course of our lives.
exactly. So
So
it's a both and situation.
So can
So
you live vicariously through the ladies who are on the dance team now?
oh, absolutely, because I'm still to this day like obsessed with all
Uh-huh.
kinds of HBCU dance teams. Like,
Oh, okay. So
yes.
that's so cool.
So seeing
That's
them this weekend, I was like,
uh
y'all, go ahead. Yes. Yes, yes, yes again. Like,
right.
yeah. I think it's just like such a beautiful thing. So,
Yeah. And I think about that sometimes when I played the flute because I played the flute in sixth grade and I wanted
okay.
to continue and I didn't continue in high school.
Mm,
And even now when I look back, I love the flute, but now I think I love the trumpet too. I love the sound, the pure sound of a trumpet,
hmm.
and I want to play it. And so who
Did
knows? I might
Oakwood have
play.
a band?
No, honey, I
Oh,
don't think.
okay.
No, I'm no. They didn't have a band, but they did have a music department that was
Okay.
phenomenal. Uh,
Okay.
they sang. So Oakwood is a college or a university of singers. Like you got Take Six that
Um,
comes out of it, Virtue comes out of it. What's his name? Uh, the guy who sings a Start Back at One. Um,
Brian McKnight?
yeah, he came from Oakwood. So it's a
Wow.
whole group of people who their voice is just magnificent.
Okay.
Aeolians. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Aeolians, but
Okay.
my goodness, the voices. Yeah.
Okay. So what it didn't have in like extracurricular typical HBCU, it had other things. That makes
Yeah, oh yeah.
sense.
It
Okay.
had to make up for some other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
So
yeah, I guess if you don't have football, but you did have basketball, you said,
yeah,
right?
we definitely had
So
basketball. Yeah.
yeah. So you don't have like the same Saturday afternoon experience in like college, obviously,
Oh
because
no.
duh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Seventh day Adventist,
Yeah.
Saturday was not for that anyway.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So yeah.
Sunday is the day for all of that.
Okay. Okay.
Sunday
So
night, sometimes Thursday night, a lot of times Thursday night. Yeah.
okay. So then yeah. Hmm, we gotta get you down
Yeah. It
85.
was, yeah, that would be a nice experience.
Mm-hmm. You'll understand. It only takes a few minutes and you'll understand.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But okay. So so with the rules, those are the main three. Then along the way, in these 21 years of being together, other rules have like popped up and they
Mm-hmm.
become like bonuses or an addendum. So,
Mm-hmm. Right.
bonus rule, get what you came for.
Okay. Explain that one.
Whatever is going on, however it's going on, might be good, bad, or other. If you have a goal, that's the goal. That's
Okay.
the thing that you're trying to attain. So, like this weekend, homecoming, I was kind of like a little concerned. There were going to be people there that I don't really jive with.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, I don't really want to hang out with these people. I don't really want to like interact. Hopefully, we don't see them, anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm just going to have a good time.
Right.
So my goal, no matter what, to get what I came for, would to be have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Work, if you're working somewhere and you don't like the job, but you have a goal to like pay off a certain debt, get to that point, pay off the debt, and then you can quit this job.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is to get what you came for.
Okay. So basically stay on task.
Stay on
Yeah.
task.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. If
Don't
you
waver
have
because you don't like it. Don't waver because of
right.
your feelings. Don't
Right.
tap out. Don't go back in the house because you aren't having a good time.
Look at that.
Get what
Yeah.
you came for.
Right. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
That that sounds like an awesome agreement to make with yourself because
Mm-hmm.
it keeps you again focused. And then after you've accomplished this goal, you can look back on that and say, you know what, I did that
Yeah.
in spite of all
Yeah.
the adversities that came my way.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to do it. You
Yeah.
feel better about yourself. So that's a good one.
Get what you came for is more like making sure that you tick the box at the end of the day on the like the checklist.
Okay.
It's it's like you don't score until you score. You
Right.
can't celebrate early, you can't tap out, you can't do it. You got to like go through whatever
Mm-hmm.
to get it done.
Right. You can't pass go.
No, no.
Yeah,
So
you gotta
so
finish that.
that's
I
that
love
one.
it. No,
Okay,
I
so
love
then
it.
we have like I call them addendums of like they kind of come and go, but
Mm-hmm.
they're like always hovering. They're always a reminder.
Right.
So, um, like if you come in our house, get what you came for is actually on the wall in the bathroom
Look at
because our
that.
bathroom is like a kind of a travel theme,
Mm-hmm.
and we always kind of say get what you came for when we're going on a trip. So we're either gonna have a good time or we're gonna have a story. But if we have both, then it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have one that stays above my desk,
Okay.
and it says, if if they don't know you personally, then you can't take it personally.
Mm-hmm. All right. Explain that one.
So when I was working in Huntsville, I experienced it. Lori, it was just wild. And it was wild because everything I experienced was like, I've never experienced this in my whole teaching career, never seen anything like this. It's crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
every time I would say that, I was met with, well, you should be used to it. You're from Atlanta.
Oh wow.
And I would be like,
So they stereotype the hell out of Atlanta.
the fuck? Exactly.
Had they been there?
Exactly. So it was just
Oh
like,
my goodness.
no, no, the fuck, I have not seen this. And no, I
Oh
should
my
not be
goodness.
used to. I should never be used to a child cussing me out.
That's hilarious.
I shouldn't. I should not be used to like kids having fights, like fist fights in my classroom.
Mercy. And what grade?
I taught 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay. That's wild.
You should never
And
be
what
used to that shit.
they must have been seeing that on television or something.
I don't know, but like the adults in the school would just be like, it should be fine. You should be used to it. You know how kids are.
Mm.
Not like this. What the fuck? So
Oh my
I would
goodness.
experience just crazy shit like kids attacking me, kids saying the wildest shit ever.
Whoa.
Um, I wouldn't give this kid his way one day. He wanted to go somewhere or do something like go like leave class or whatever.
Okay.
And I was like, no, whatever. You gotta like sit and do your work. And he just snapped.
Oh.
And from then on, it was like If you tell this kid no, he's gonna like
Oh,
lose his shit. And so one day
oh,
I was in the hallway with other adults, assistant principal, two other teachers, and a substitute.
mm-hmm.
And he was walking down the hall and kind of like, dapped up the two adult males and said hello to everybody else um and me or whatever. And so somebody was like, you need to go to class. And I just kind of chimed in, was like, yeah, aren't you supposed to be in whatever, whatever? And he was like, bitch, I'll kill you. Shut up. Like, like in my
Whoa,
face. And none
whoa.
of the other adults even like flinched.
They ain't say nothing to him.
Nothing. And I was
Not the
like,
males. The males didn't say, dude.
so this begins everybody being like, you're from Atlanta. You should be used to these kind of crazy kids.
Oh no.
And I was like, y'all, I have taught dope boys. I've taught kids that have wound up on first 48. Like, none of
Right,
these kids would ever. None of
right.
them. They would go out and do whatever they needed to do, and then they would still do my homework. So no, I've never seen no shit like this, and this can't be okay.
Right, right.
So when it got to the end, I was like mentally battered. I was like, all of this is
I
my
feel you.
fault apparently because I must have said or done something that made this bad. But
Or you just from Atlanta and you supposed to be okay with all of that.
yeah, like it's supposed to be funny now. Like it is funny now
Oh my
because it's just like
God.
this shit. Like y'all are crazy if you believe that that's normal.
That was a major initiation, my dear.
It didn't work because I took it on mentally.
I see.
I
Cause
took it
but
on as
they
an
didn't know
attack.
you personally, so now that's your principal then. So if
Yeah,
they don't know you personally, you can't take it personally.
no. And I know
Okay.
now also that like nothing is personal.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
Even
true.
a direct attack like that,
Yeah.
even someone threatening to kill you,
It's not personal.
it's not.
It's
It
not
was
personal at all.
scary. It was
Yeah, I can
terrifying.
imagine.
I'm 5'4".
Yeah.
This child was a whole foot taller than me,
Yeah.
a good 150 pounds more than me.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you supposed to do with that? And I was teaching in a room that, again, red flags. I should have known better. A room that had no windows,
Mercy.
a room where the phone barely worked, a room where I had no cell phone service. It was
Well,
one
that
of
was my
those
high
like
school.
it was
We had no windows
it was
in
one of
any
those
of the
rooms where it
classes.
was like it used to be the workroom or the storage
hmm
room and they just like added it and left, and
Right.
because they had all the other classrooms full, they
Right.
just kind of threw me in there with some desks and was like, go.
Right.
So it was too scary. And eventually Drew was like, you can't work there anymore.
Yeah. Because it's too traumatizing.
It's too traumatizing and it was dangerous. It was hella
Yeah.
dangerous.
Right.
And I am a person that is a real hard ass when it comes to my work. So
hmm
I had documentation till the end of time.
Right.
And phone calls home went nowhere. Counselors nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So
Child.
it was crazy. And that was just one kid. That wasn't the girl that was cussing me out.
Mm.
That wasn't the other girl cussing me out. That, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't any of that, but it was like these people are attacking me. And instead of me being like, okay, whatever, I took it
hmm
personally.
I feel you. I feel you. Almost like, man, you must have done something to these kids
Absolutely.
to warrant that. I'm so glad. First of all, where are you today? Like, imagine today you would be in that classroom. What would you notice about yourself?
No, there's so many things that I wouldn't even. First of all the red flags would have been so bright to me that I wouldn't have
Mm-mm.
taken the job in the first place.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay,
There's no way.
cool. And how
That
would you have known? Because you did they show you the class before you took the job?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the teacher quit on the first week,
Whoa.
and I didn't start until the fourth week. So they had
Oh.
4 weeks of subs,
Mm-hmm.
and here I come commanding a room and asking you to do work and
Mm-hmm.
learn,
Right.
and you're like, we were in a free for all. Why would we
Right.
go back?
Exactly. We We are churned up in this piece.
Yeah,
You
we
ain't
run
gonna
this.
right. You ain't gonna make no differences
No,
here.
we run this. Why would you show up?
Oh my God.
And
You
here I
you have
am
been
thinking,
warned.
yeah, I thought I was going to make a difference because
Mm-hmm.
the person that quit was melanemic
Mm-hmm.
and all the kids were highly melanated.
All right.
So I thought, close family, we should be fine.
Right. Girl, bye.
Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
Word to the wise, if the teacher before you ups and quits, don't take your ass in there thinking you're going to do anything. No, hell no.
Or, you can try and use your principles, and if you have support of the staff, but
Say
if you
that
don't,
part.
but if you don't have support of the staff, and I've been there too,
Mm-hmm.
teaching high school and not having the support of the staff.
Yeah.
um if the administrators are not trying to help you, you're doomed. I mean, period.
Yeah.
So
If
yeah,
everybody top down is like, you should be used to this, if everybody top down is like, this is normal,
I'm
it
just
is a
glad
lot.
you took up for yourself, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and I think at the end of the day, when you really look at all of your principles, it's around caring for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you can love yourself, then you can love others. And loving others sometimes is being away from them too.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're not healthy for themselves, you standing away hopefully can demonstrate to them, listen, pull back and start doing things differently,
Right.
especially that fuck around gang, you
Okay.
know.
So here comes some more though.
Okay.
So in that, I had to realize something that Drew has been saying since day one is that people are people
And they are.
and they're going to do whatever they're going to do. They're going to
Yep.
do it however they're going to do it. And
Right.
it's not up to me to try to change it.
Okay.
All I could keep doing was my job. And me doing my job, though, was not a welcome thing from these kids.
Right. Well,
So at
especially
that
if
point,
these
it's not
teachers
on
are
me.
not doing the same things. Right.
Exactly. And I had to really realize, like, again, like, not everybody's going to do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
When these kids leave out of my room, they're going to somebody else's room who isn't requiring
Yeah.
that they try,
Right.
isn't requiring effort first.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not knocking any of those people because teaching is hard as hell. Teaching high school is horrible. Like teaching 10th grade is stressful as I don't know what happens
Mm-hmm.
to 10th grade girls,
Right.
but they turn into little demons.
It doesn't have to be that way.
It
It's just
doesn't.
it's just that you happen to be in a school that did not have direction, did not have good management skills,
Yeah.
and what you expect, right, comes back to you. You get
Yeah.
what you expect. If you expect a child to not get past a certain way or be a certain way, you're going to get what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when Drew says people are people, that's just like there are no shoulds. It is what it
Exactly.
is. You see what I'm
It
saying? You're gonna
it is what it is.
That's exactly
Yes.
what it is. And so that particular school, in another school, you could be there and you're like, oh my God, look at these students. They're so mannerable. They're so about
Mm-hmm.
their business,
Yeah.
because it doesn't happen at every school. You
No.
know, it could be that some students are really about their shit. They're gonna get it,
Yeah.
and they respect the teachers. But that's because they have people who expect differently from them, which invites them to expect different from themselves.
Yeah.
So I feel bad that you had that experience because
Hey,
that was terrible.
it is what it is. I learned from it. I don't have to
Okay,
go back to it.
that's
Um,
awesome. That's
it
that's
added
true.
to the what I will and will not do for money.
Exactly.
And it just changed my perspective as to my approach should I ever have to go back into a classroom. But I
Hmm.
mean, it applies to so many different scenarios.
Hmm.
And I realized too that like what personally means
Hmm.
because people think they know you,
Hmm.
but they really don't know you personally. They don't know you as a person.
Right.
So even
Mm-hmm.
family could always be like, well, you know how you are. And it's like, no, how am I? Because you don't know me. You
Because
know, you know a
yeah.
perspective of me from someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You're making an assumption about me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
mm-mm. Okay, last rule, and then we're gonna go. This is Drew's ultimate rule.
mm-hmm.
Do you want to be right or do you want to win?
Whoa. Okay. Now I can imagine what that means, but break that down.
Being right does not mean that you're going to win. At the
Okay.
end of the day, the game is to win.
And what does it mean to win? What are
Um,
you winning?
First of all, you got to survive.
Okay.
So if we go back to the school, think of the school. Did I want to be right and make this kid sit down and make this kid go to class and make this kid
Mm,
do all these things? That would make me
mm-hmm.
right.
Okay.
Or did I want to live and
Mm-hmm.
not be harmed and not be
Right.
cussed out?
Right.
So in order for me to win, I had to leave the situation.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to be right, I would have stayed the whole year, took the abuse, tried to prove my point, tried to
Yeah.
do all these things, tried to change the kids, tried to be this martyr or this savior or any. No,
Mm-hmm. Right.
you're trying to win, which means
Okay.
that first of all, you have to survive to win.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, you definitely do. You definitely got to survive.
Because at the end of the day, if not,
Oh my
you've
goodness.
lost everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, we have to get him on and him like explain
Right.
his version of it. But to me, what it means is like you come out on top, regardless if you come out looking wrong. You could look wrong to
Right.
the person that you were trying to
Right.
prove
Right.
to. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So it's kind of like losing some battles to win the war,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Or I also even liken it to thriving. Sometimes you're gonna take some L's
Mm-hmm.
um in this thriving game because I would even say let's take it another step up. Let's do a little bit more than survive. Let's thrive in this thing. And
Yeah.
in thriving, sometimes you're gonna weather some storms. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
face some hardships. It's not gonna always be pretty.
And it doesn't have to look pretty on the outside.
Hmm.
You could be going through whatever, but if you're not taking it personally,
Right.
if
You can
you're still
have peace
continuing
on
to
the
do
inside.
whatever it is, if you're
Hmm.
getting what you came for,
Right. Look at that.
that's a win.
All of
A
those
win is a
things.
win.
Yep. Any
But
day.
being right means that you might have to go to the side that's on the fuck around gang side.
Mercy.
I'm
Which
not going on that side for
which you
anybody.
going which is gonna cause you to go lower and lower, with and all those are really when you're talking about rules or principles, they can even be considered boundaries,
Yeah,
you know. And
they
a good
are.
and a good book I would recommend is Set Boundaries, Find Peace. Uh, and her name is Nidra Glover Tawab. It's an excellent book. It's an excellent book. Set Boundaries, Find Peace. And you'll see some of the similar principles that Sylvia is referring to, about how to live life. And I think we all need principles
Hmm.
or boundaries or house rules to help us in this life.
Yeah.
That way we won't fall prey to some of these antics that it's gonna constantly show up. People have
Yes.
antics for you and you can fall prey to them.
And they are
And
waiting.
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's almost like a protective cover.
Yeah.
If you're a praying person, you would say that you're covered in the blood, right?
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you are not necessarily a praying person, you say like this is my bubble.
Right. Right.
Nothing's going to come inside your bubble. You're
Mhm.
going to keep everything at bay. If you think
Right.
about, COVID times, we had to all stay 6 feet away. That was supposedly going to save us. I don't know how, because air, but that's not the point. But it was keeping and warding off things
Mhm.
that could harm you. It was keeping them at bay. It was keeping them at arm's length. It was keeping
Right.
them however far away so that way they couldn't penetrate. That way they couldn't
Mm-hmm.
get past your armor.
Right.
So I
Right.
think it's the reinforcements, it's the boundaries, it's a mental boost. And I think too, I've been thinking about this lately with your reframe is how do I word these as not necessarily don't, but
Mm-hmm.
do's. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something I'm gonna be thinking about. But yeah, those are the house rules. So now I understand the difference or the similarity between principles and house rules and boundaries and guides and
Mm-hmm.
any of those things.
Yeah, because they're all really truly like lessons that have been tried and true, and they
Yes.
don't change. These
No.
things, they don't change. They'll be there for other people to have once we're gone,
Mm-hmm.
and they still
Yeah.
won't change. They're like universal laws, if you will.
I hope they don't change. Because I also hope that everybody has their own.
Mm-hmm.
However you word it for yourself, because we all don't necessarily speak the same language, but
Mm-hmm.
figure out what is your boundary, what is your guide, what is your rule that you won't waver on.
Yeah.
Um,
And it surpasses feelings. So you can
yes,
be angry, you can be excited, you can be happy, you can be sad, but these principles don't have any of that in it.
yes,
It just is or it's not.
exactly. You be
So,
frustrated, but you still can't go back in the house.
yeah. And notice what you notice when you honor your boundaries.
Oh,
Yes, when you honor them, they will definitely honor you.
yes, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for letting me share. And thanks for listening.
yes, that's it for this week's show. I'm Lori Scott.
And I'm Sylvia Johnson. And you've been listening to What's Been Better.
A big thank you to Lagan Music Inc. for providing our music. This show is edited and produced by us with a little help from our family and friends. We love you all.
We want to hear what's been better for you. To be a guest on the show, send us an email to questions@whatsbeenbetter.com. Or you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at What's Been Better Podcast.
Thanks for listening.